Hello and welcome back to the Fastball Sports Network. I'm your host, Mark, joined today by Dan and Frank. We have our first week in the books for Major League Baseball. Well, week in quotation marks, it's about 4 days or so, but we are technically going to week 2 now. Our New York Mets are still undefeated, so that's really, really good. Happy about that. Dan, Frank, how are we feeling about opening day officially being tonight for the New York Mets?
I'm just more excited about tonight than I have been. Like, we obviously do our fantasy baseball leagues. Baseball's back. That's like a nice, fun feeling. But until you see, your team take the field, it's almost like it's not like it's not happening. Like, it's definitely happening, but it just doesn't feel as authentic. So tonight, when DeGrom takes the field and strikes out 20 batters on the Phillies, we're gonna all be really pumped, and I'm just really excited for tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about going from facing Max Scherzer to Matt Moore. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, we got lucky there.
Poor Matt Moore.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Probably not. It's just awesome to see fans back in the stands again. I didn't realize how much I would appreciate that. So now seeing it for the Mets for the first time, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's like watching a Marlins game, but throughout the entire league.
When you see DeGrom versus Matt Moore and Stroman versus Chase Anderson instead of Scherzer and Strasburg, you're feeling pretty good about your chances. But yeah, we're definitely excited that baseball is back. Today's show, our theme is going to be, we all have a list of 3 potential overreactions, but things that I also believe in my 3, even though it could be a little jump the gun, overreact, but I do feel confident that my 3 crazy claims have a shot at being real. Do you guys feel kind of the same way?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's definitely, like, you could play this clip at the end of the season and they could also definitely not have been what I said, and I wouldn't be surprised. But, like, they're over way too early reactions. It's for fun, so I just put together a nice little list here.
I agree with that. I can see a couple of mine blowing up in my face, but I do still believe in them.
All right, good to go. We'll kick off right now. Frank, you'll go first. What is your first big overreaction or statement from the first 4 days of baseball?
Okay, so I'm going to preference this by saying, please, everyone, don't throw a fit, okay? Because I love this guy too, okay? I really do like this man, and I want him to succeed. But my first overreaction of the season is Shohei Ohtani will not win the MVP and might not get any MVP votes. And I'm going to tell you why. And it was one play yesterday that made me think this. This was, we're filming this on Monday. Yesterday was Sunday Night Baseball. He pitched pretty well for a guy who hasn't pitched in 2 years. He's hit 2 home runs already. Here's my thing with Ohtani. Jose Abreu slid into home plate, and we all held our breath. Like, everybody that was watching at that current moment held their breath. That means that was game 3. That was one time in 3 games. We are going to be holding our breath with every single thing Ohtani does until he can get through his full season hitting and pitching. I just don't believe he can do it. I'm rooting for the guy. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. I want him to win MVP. I want Trout to win MVP. I want the Angels to be so good. I like both of those guys. But as of right now, I think that Ohtani is still not quite there just yet.
The play at home play was a freak accident.
It was, but again, these things, it's baseball. Like, his body's going to be moving. He's going to be sliding
if
on
Bryce Harper slides into Jake tonight, we're going to be free. We're going to be holding our breath.
Yes, but Jake is also not going to be sliding into bases and stuff like that. Like, he's doing both. He's not going to be, when Jake swings the bat, he hits home runs sometimes, but like, he's not going for it like Ohtani does. Like, there's just so much different movement that Ohtani does compared to a normal pitcher. It's just, there's a lot of ways you can get hurt as a pitcher, and there's a lot of ways you can get hurt as a hitter, right? We see it all the time. People don't hold. Look at Aaron Judge. He's a tank. He's like the model of fitness for like a human being, and he's 6'7", and he's always hurt, and he just does one thing, So to me, that's the concern with Ohtani for me. So that was my way too early reaction. That play at the plate just made me think we're going to be doing this all season with this guy. So
I think with him, and I think Buck Showalter was talking about this on MLB Network the other night. They have practically bubble wrapped him for the couple years that he's been here. So now that he has some free reign, anything out of the ordinary, everyone's going to hold their breath. I think he'll be just fine. After they said it's just general soreness from getting hit by a guy the size of Jose Abreu, which is totally warranted. But yeah, I think anything he does, people are going to hold their breath at this point until they actually see him go out and do it.
All right, Dan, what is your number one overreaction from the first week of the season?
All right, I am going to stay in the American League West. I said the Astros were my pick. You guys still hear me since my computer looks like it just crashed?
We hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Everything just went dark. I will try this again in a moment. Okay, the screen's back up. Zoom's not. All right, take two. All right, so like I said, I am staying in the American League West. I said the Astros were going to win this division. I now think they are going to run away with this division. After watching them put up almost a touchdown a night, I think I've seen a season's worth of highlight reel catches from Chad Pinder, so it's not like they were getting lucky. I did not factor in that Yordan Alvarez could still be a monster because everyone's thinking, oh, they don't have Springer anymore, but they got nothing from Yordan last year. I think their pitching is good enough. It's not nearly what it was when they had 1 and 2 in Cy Young candidates, but I think they're good enough. They could go get a pitcher at the deadline if that's what they need. And yeah, I think everyone just thinks it's like, oh, they can't really do it. They're cheating. But all those guys are just full of talent. And yeah, I think this division is theirs.
I'm not crazy about like Altuve, Correa, some of those other guys, but I think Alex Bregman is just as good of a chance as anyone in the American League to win MVP. And Yordan looks like he's back. So yeah, I don't hate that take.
Yeah, I agree with what Mark's saying. With the caveat of me thinking that if Mike Trout stays healthy the entire season, he has a little bit of a better chance to win MVP than Alex Bregman, but Bregman's Bregman's really good, and I feel like we forgot about it because he didn't have such a great season last season, the cheating scandal, so a lot of that like was weighing on his reputation. So I mean, he's really good. Like we saw it opening weekend, we're going to continue to see it. And yeah, Yordan Alvarez, great point. The Astros are definitely still formidable. They're not the super team that they once were. Obviously, Springer's still a hit, even though they didn't get anything from Yordan. But I could absolutely see what you're saying, them running away with this division. I can also see it being a closely contested division. But yeah, I like that take.
All right. Now my first overreaction, just a total 180 from Frank. My first overreaction is that Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. He played 4 games. He had 2 home runs, he had a stolen base, and he was 2 catcher errors away from 5 innings of 1-run ball against one of the best offenses in baseball. He has such an impact on the game where if he stays healthy, but he has the potential to win 10 games with a 3 ERA and also hit 30 home runs and steal 20 bases and bat 2 for a team that's a playoff hopeful. They're going to be wild card relevant. Like he has such impact on the game like we haven't seen. We never saw Babe Ruth, obviously, but like a player like that, we haven't seen anything like this in our time of watching. And it's an overreaction, but like you just watch him and like he does things no one else does.
My only problem with Ohtani is, like you said, the if. It's just all the if, the if, the if, the if. I'm a Mets fan. Okay, we've been ifing for how many years now, right? Like how many years? Oh, if Matt Harvey stays healthy, if Zach Wheeler can figure it out and stay healthy, which he finally has, but not for the Mets. If Steven Matz can just get that stuff under control, it just I mean, obviously these are all pitcher things. Oh, well, if this person stays healthy in the lineup, then the Mets are gonna have a really formidable lineup. And it just seems like ifs in baseball are never good. Like I like obviously there are times where it works out, and this is one player, so it's different than a whole team. But I just hate ifs in baseball. The more consistent you are in baseball, the more likely you are to do things. That's why, again, in this MVP and this best player, it always goes back to Mike Trout for me because he's been consistently good for so long that. But I mean, again, I don't hate the take. You're right. When he's on, his impact on the game is unmatched by anybody in the sport. I will definitely agree with that.
Like Dan was saying earlier, I read that going into the season. I love to hear that. Like he's not being treated like a robot now. He's being treated like a player. And he's going to tell Joe Madden, I'm sore today, I'm going to sit out. Or he's going to tell Joe Madden, skip me this turn, I'll pitch the next turn. Like it's going to be up to him. So I love that. I love that he has control of the situation now.
Yeah, and you could tell Madden actually wanted to push him yesterday. I don't know if it was the smart idea, but he definitely wanted to let him go. You know, he's got Madden trusts him, which I think is huge for Ohtani.
All right, now the first thing, again, us all being Mets fans, I'm sure you guys remember that game that Noah basically carried the offense in LA when he hit the 2 home runs.
Yep.
I could see Shohei doing that like a few times a year.
I mean, that's how
Where
it
he's
started yesterday, right? That's
yeah,
how he hit
like
the two
we're
run
one
bomb,
inning
they're
in.
up
The
2-0.
first game he gets to pitch and hit. He's throwing 102 and hitting balls 115. So how do you match that? Like no one is good enough to compete with that. This is unheard of. We've never seen anyone that can do that. Again, like I said, if he stays on the field and they let him do him and don't keep him in bubble wrap all year, yeah, I'd agree with it. No one could match what he does on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think ability is the question anymore, right? It's availability. I think that's
Right.
the only question left with him. Ability is not the question. We know he's so good. Like, we know he's a good hitter and we know he's a good pitcher. And that even just being good at both of those things and being able to do them consistently makes him great, right? If we
Right.
get 280 and 25 home runs and he starts 17 games and maybe gets 10 wins, I think that's a complete win for this season.
Yeah, I think it helps for him that they are going with a 6-man rotation. They were saying on MLB Network, and he keeps him on that once a week schedule that he was used to pitching with in Japan.
Mhm.
And what they're doing now is just some days, instead of having him on his own unique program, they're just like, all right, go practice with the hitting team. Then it's like, all right, go work with the pitching staff. He's just one of the guys now instead of working on his own elaborate scheme to make this work.
He's
And I
so
think that's the
fun.
best thing they can do for him.
He is so fun. All
He's
right, we'll
amazing.
move on, even though I don't want to. We'll go to Dan now. Dan, you can say your second hot take, and I will go first. So you go now.
All right, my second one we originally thought the big difference in the American League East was going to be their offense in Toronto. And I'm starting to think the back end of that bullpen could actually turn out to be a difference maker after what they showed in New York this week. After seeing Romano and Merriweather look unhittable, like sure we've talked about it, that the Yankees offense is kind of all or nothing.
Yeah.
So they could be prone to making a guy look better than he should. But their stuff was just like Merriweather comes in throwing 100 with a breaking ball. I don't know a lot of teams that are just gonna make that look easy to hit.
Can I ask you, because I haven't, and I know pretty much everyone, I never heard of Julian Merriweather coming into this year. And
Nope,
then
I did.
he comes in there, gets 2 saves in the Bronx, strikes out like 5 of the 6 batters, looks filthy. Yeah, that was really impressive. Obviously, they lost Kirby Yates, and it doesn't look like they're going to lose much with Julian Merriweather.
Is Yates done for the season?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's upsetting because imagine he came back and he was the third in that bullpen. Like I know he had a rough season last season, but like still, like imagine he came back and could bolster that bullpen even more. That would be
Right.
really interesting to see. They have a true ace in Ryu, so would have been cool.
Yeah. Now the reason I can see this one of mine that blows up in my face is because we've seen it. Relievers can be so just all over the place. You never know where you're gonna get. For all we know, next week they could both just struggle to show strikes and just walk the yard and can't get anybody out because that's what it feels like relievers do nowadays, except for like the elite handful of guys. But from what they showed in this first week, they look pretty good.
I like this take a lot. To solidify it, I just want to see a series in June in Yankee Stadium. And I want to see what they have against those guys when the weather's a little bit nicer out. But I do. I actually like this take a lot. And like I said before the season, I like the Blue Jays a lot. And this was not something that I was expecting. So I like the Blue Jays even more now.
Yeah, for sure. It is a little fluky when you get guys like David Phelps also throwing gems and a few other of those random like TJ Zuch. But it's the Yankees, like we said, they're all or nothing. It's early in the season. We got to see. But no, they definitely have the potential to do with those 2 big guys in the back end. I'll go now with my second hot take. I think the magic ran out in Oakland. I don't see this team really doing much. Like it's a matter of time. Like teams go in cycles, especially the small market teams like the Cleveland Indians, like the Oakland A's, like Tampa Bay. And I just look at this team now, and they're playing guys like Guy Tom and Jed Lowry's batting third, and Mitch Moreland's batting 4. And it's just Matt Olson's their best player. He's going to bat like 230. He's going to hit 40 home runs, but he's going to bat like 230. It's just like it's tough to see them in the same way that they did. So Dan, I'm with you that the Astros are going to win the division, but for me, it's more because of their competition than because of their talent level.
That's fair. I agree that I think we're at about the point with Oakland where it feels like they get good, the guys have a nice little run, and then they all make money somewhere else. We've seen this with Oakland for as long as we can remember. And it seems like we're getting to the back end of that now. Like I can see Chapman and Olsen not being there for more than, I don't know their contract situations off the top of my head.
Yeah, we already heard the Matt Chapman rumors. Like the Mets were a little involved with that in the offseason.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
And
would you trade Chapman and Olsen if you're the Athletics and you're sub 500 ball in the middle of August?
I think you
I
have
mean,
to.
you have to. Yeah, they're not going to extend them. They're going to make more money than Oakland's willing to pay or is capable of paying. So at this point, if the team's not good, this is what they do. They got to go and get the best kids they can find, and they got to make those kids work for 3 or 4 years until they move on for the next set of kids.
It might be an overreaction, but I think they might win like 75 games.
I could definitely see them faltering. You're right. There's just something when you watch that team, you just don't get the same spark you did like a year or 2 years ago out of them. And that's upsetting because they have a bunch of likable guys on, or they did have a bunch of likable guys with Semien, who's not there anymore, and Olsen and Chapman. And yeah, I could definitely see what you're saying here. Maybe Lizard can come up and save them.
The Lizard?
Jesus.
Lizardo, I assume. Has anyone called him the Lizard?
Well, he got shelled in game 2. Maybe he can put it together.
Well, he ran into the juggernaut that is Houston, so.
That's
All
tough.
right, Frank, what is your second hot take from week 1?
All right, so my second hot take, I guess we are going to talk about 3 teams in the division because I'm going back to I'm going to stay in the American League still. Looks like we haven't actually made our way outside of the American League yet. We talked about 2 third place odds teams, like 2 teams that had the third best odds of winning their division. We talked about the Cleveland Indians and the Los Angeles Angels, and we said those 2 are the ones that we really, really like to win their divisions. Well, after 1 weekend of baseball, I'm willing to say I do not like the Cleveland Indians' chances of winning their division. I don't like that lineup at all. I looked at that lineup. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's good. I think their pitching is solid, but I do not like the lineup. Franmil Reyes is going to bat like 160 and hit 45 home runs.
No.
Okay. You've got Jose Ramirez, who could be the best hitter in baseball, like could be like the best pound for pound hitter in baseball when you talk about like power and then average combinations. And then like who? And I don't like that
Eddie
lineup.
Rosario is really good.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That is disrespectful of me to Eddie Rosario. Eddie Rosario is really good and should not have been dropped off of Minnesota for a guy that I don't even know what his name is or what they're doing with him. But
The kid that's not even in the majors yet.
my other part of this take, like I said, we talked about the Indians and we talked about the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels impressed me a lot this weekend against a White Sox team that is definitely probably approaching the level of Houston, or if not better than Houston. And I thought they put up a really good fight. And, you know, everyone's really high on Shohei and they have Trout and Rendon, and the bullpen didn't look that bad. Rysel had a really dominant showing, and then there was the throwing error that blew them the game. So it was a little fluky. Again, a throwing error got the runs in too. Like the pitching really wasn't that bad for the Angels this week. I think the Angels can make a run at this division, and especially piggybacking off of what Mark said, Oakland doesn't look like they have it this year. So I think that if the Angels can stay competitive, I could definitely see a wild card spot, and I could see them making a run at the division if maybe things go a little sour for Houston. All it takes is Bregman off for a few weeks, and then, you know, who knows?
My devil's advocate with Cleveland is they're playing in Detroit in the snow. So, like, we can give them a little more time with the bats to see if we can get going. But
I just like Minnesota and Chicago so much better after like opening weekend. That was mainly it. But
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree on Mark's point that there's not exactly an ideal start. Like, I don't think anyone saw the baseball that Miguel Cabrera hit out on opening day just because it just went up to a sky snow.
In the second base, he thought it was a double. No one knew anything.
Yeah, no one had a clue where the ball was. So it's a little rough to hold them too hard for that. But at the same time, it's Jose Ramirez. Eddie Rosario is good. I feel like really good sounds strong. I do think he's good. But, I mean, really good guys probably don't get cut for no reason.
Well, that was a financial decision that the Twins made. He's like a 270-30 homer guy that plays.
I do like him, though, so I'm not going to just sit here and make fun of him. But back to they're not deep. They have a lot of guys that, like Roberto Perez is definitely defense.
They got a Met Rosario coming off the bench.
Oscar Mercado is like whatever. I don't know.
Andres Jimenez. They have a lot of guys that are really good defenders that don't really hit.
It's true.
And it's good having a lot of good defense when you have a team that's your strength is pitching, but you need a little firepower, and Jose Ramirez and Eddie Rosario is not nearly enough.
Poor Jose Ramirez is stuck there too, because like if this keeps going the way it is, like turning the way it is, like he's on a very team-friendly deal for the next few years. But that being said, if they were smart, they could get an absolute haul for Jose Ramirez because, like I said, might be pound for pound the best hitter in baseball when you consider average and power. So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're out of it, if he becomes
Yeah.
available or not. But I think it's 2 years left at like.
and if he's available, again, I always think about things from a Mets perspective, but if he's available, I know we already did one deal with Cleveland for one of their the left side of their infield, but I would take the other half. I really would
I'm
because
in.
Imagine
we were
that.
looking. We were in the market for a third baseman, and he's team friendly, and they're going to need team friendly with the contracts that they have coming up. I would definitely look into that if I were the Mets and they had enough to give up for him. But he's going to cost a lot. I think he's going to cost a lot more than Lindor. Not because I think he's a lot better of a player, but because I think that, again, it's the deal, the team friendly deal. So you've got him for a few years. I don't know how many exactly it is, but I know he's not making that much money. So yeah, that'll be something to look at.
Yeah, that team friendly deal is going to make it. You're going to have to give up a serious haul to get a guy like him.
All right, I'll go last now with my third hot take of week one. Excuse me. I was too high on the Milwaukee Brewers. I still believe they're going to win the division just because I hate the Cardinals and the Reds and the Cubs to win like 90. I just don't. I think they're all like the same team. These four teams. I think the Brewers do have the best pitching. But this lineup is really, really bad in Milwaukee. And I don't think I gave that enough attention when I picked them. They have Christian Yelich, who's obviously great. Keston Hiura is more of an all or nothing type of guy where he's going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's probably going to bat like 230, 240. And then after that, it's like they have like Colton Wong and they have Jackie Bradley, who are just good defenders. They can't really hit. Like Travis Shaw batted second for them. It's just like there's no one in this. Lorenzo Cain, there's no one here to hit besides Yelich.
All right, I'm going to jump in now because my third hot take was going to be that the Central is just a crapshoot now.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. After watching the Brewers, like, sure, they face Kenta Maeda and Jose Barrios. So, like.
And Barrios had the best game of his life. So, like, that's.
Yeah, that's too. Like, I've always liked Barrios, but at the same time, I feel like he's one of those guys that he looks like has the potential to be an ace, but doesn't quite get there.
Yeah.
He might have got there. He might be
there.
There.
That's what I'm saying. He gets a game in Milwaukee, and all of a sudden he's just
maybe
literally unhittable.
Maybe this all clicked.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cardinals, not the best opening series. I think I had the Brewers to win the division, and now I'm not confident in that whatsoever. Because I think, if I remember right, I was the only one in here that believes in Nolan Arenado this year, and I still do.
He hit a home run.
He did. Backtracking, where was I? The Brewers' offense, they were just awful. Like, to defend them, I think Colton Wong hits well enough to defend being a Gold Glove defender. Like, he's not one of those guys that we just talked about in Cleveland where it's not worth it. But at the same time, like, Yelich is going to need to be MVP Yelich.
I think it's more than Wong is probably the third best hitter.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem. And Avisai Garcia had a good opening week too.
Is who good?
Is Keston any good?
He's a streaky power hitter.
Yeah, he's batting 0, so
he strikes out.
The average could use some work.
He's.
That's not what they need on this team. Yeah, just piggybacking off of what you guys said, that Brewers lineup is tough. That's a tough to take lineup. That's like deciding if we're going out to the ballpark in Milwaukee, and then you see like I don't even know batting 4. Like who's batting 4 for this team?
Travis Shaw or Keston Hiura.
Yeah, that's gross.
Oh, looks like now it's Avisai Garcia.
We'll watch it on TV and barbecue out back. Like that's that kind of that kind of game. Because it's just they have Yelich. They don't have like anything that gets you excited, Like
there's no protection there.
We know what Yelich is. That's why I say that. Like they don't have anything that like I will say the front of their rotation is pretty nasty. Yes. The first 2 pitchers in their rotation are pretty nasty, but the lineup is gross. It's ugly. It's not fun. All the accolades of bad.
And that's why I'm sticking with them. I'm not going to jump ship just yet and not take them anymore. Because honestly, like I know we're Met fans, a little bit of a homer take, but 2015, we had great pitching and awful lineup. We made one big trade and we went into the World Series. So it happens. You see moves, and you know if they're in it, they're going to go get a big bat or something to help out Yelich and the guys.
By the way, I want to backtrack. I said Avisal Garcia was hitting 400. I had at bat, and I was on opening day instead of the last game. He is down to 222. So scratch that. He is not off to a good start.
Small samples.
It doesn't look like anyone is off to a good
That's true,
start.
folks. Just remember,
Which
everything we
makes sense
say,
after 6
very
perfect
small
innings.
samples.
Frank, what is your third and final hot take for week 1?
All right. My third and final take is both me being hopeful and something that I observed this weekend. Atlanta Braves threw up a huge egg this week. Like, they laid a huge egg. Okay. My third take, the Atlanta Braves do not have what it takes talent-wise in possibly one of the most stacked leagues we've seen in a very long time to win the World Series. There's no way they're navigating through the Mets in the division, the Dodgers, who we know are going to be amazing, the Padres, who are great. Whoever the Central produces is going to be formidable enough to win a 3 out of 5 in a playoff series, if that's the case with the Braves. They just don't have enough talent. I talk about it all the time. They're stacked in the front end. I don't like the back end of their lineup. If you need to see like the optic, they have the 4 of them. Then Travis d'Arnaud bats 5. Now, there's nothing wrong with Travis d'Arnaud. As far as catchers goes, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good offensive catcher. But when you look at the other 5 hitters, you look at the 5 hitters for the Mets, the Dodgers, the Padres, they blow Travis d'Arnaud out of the water. Like, blow Travis d'Arnaud out of the water. And the strength of this Braves team is supposed to be their hitting. So you can't tell me that they have enough what it takes to win a World Series. Like, I'm not saying they won't get to the playoffs. They might even win our division, which would stink. But they just do not have what it takes to win a World Series. I just don't believe it.
Aaron Nola pitched amazing, and then Zach Wheeler probably had one of his best games of his career, going 7 innings, 1 hit, 12 Ks. Like,
Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are good pitchers. They're going to be facing good pitch. Is there any let up in this division?
Going against good,
is there a let up? But what I'm saying is there's a let up. You got Jake DeGrom. When the Mets are healthy, you have Jacob DeGrom, Noah Syndergaard, Carlos Carrasco, Marcus Stroman as the 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, none of those guys are much worse than Zach Wheeler. They're going to be seeing this all season.
I don't think
Nationals,
Zach Wheeler's
rotation.
not he pitched, though, is what I'm saying. Zach Wheeler's not like a consistent ace. He just had like one of the better games that he's had.
I mean, that's easy to say, but he's still a good pitcher. Like, they're still going to run into this again. Washington's going to give them the same issue.
I think Austin Riley and Dansby Swanson are pretty good at 6 and 7 too.
But again, you compare them to the
I agree that
the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Padres, who are the teams.
Lineup. I agree.
But and what I'm saying is, the strength for the Braves is their hitting. Like, that is the strength for their team. Like, you say, what's the best part of the Braves? It's their hitting. When you go to the Dodgers and you go, what's the best part of their team? You could say, well, it's either their lineup or it's their rotation. Because if Trevor Bauer is everything that people think that he is, then that rotation is stupid. You go to the Padres, you say, what's the strength of their well, it could be their hitting or their pitching. Obviously, question marks on the pitching with Dinelson Lamet, but it could be. You go to the Mets, what's the strength of their team? Is it their hitting or their pitching? It could be either one. With the Braves, what's the strength of their team? It's got to be their hitting. They don't even have the best lineup. They don't even have the second best lineup. They might not have the third best lineup. So for me, my last take, the Braves, you can't get shut out by you can't not win a game against the Phillies in the opening weekend. That's my way too early reaction. Again, it's me being hopeful as well. And again, they could sweep us the first week and win the next 10 straight, and I'll eat my words. But that's just my observation. I needed to do a National League one, so I put one that hit close to home for there.
All right, I am going to say this one is without a doubt way too early, because I know I, of all people, probably put the less weight into last season's COVID shortened season. But I remember the first week, it looked like they found just 9 guys outside Citi Field. And like, hey, you want to play against the Mets today? Like, they were that bad to start last year too. And then a couple months later, they're giving the Dodgers a fight for their lives in the NLCS. So I think they're just a slow starting team. Like right now, Acuna's hitting 167. Ozzie and Freddie Freeman don't have a hit yet. Ozuna's under 100. Like, these are guys that have proven they can hit. they had a bad week with Aaron Nola, and Zach Wheeler looked amazing. Like he's dotting 100 up and in, down and away. Like he was hitting all four corners
too. I don't think Zach was that good, but he went 7 days, like 11 Ks or something.
I think he is the biggest culprit of just not the Dodgers, the Braves being slow starters.
Probably.
But yeah, we have seen this from them before. They are like we talked about this. They're not an insanely deep 1 through 9 lineup, but at the top they are loaded. And I think they are just slow to start. Their pitching, they've proven they can get young kids up and produce. Even after seeing them get swept by Philly, without Carrasco and Noah back immediately, I still think they're the favorite for the division.
I mean, even with the 1 through 4, though, you look at their 1 through 4, they don't even have the best 1 through 4 in baseball.
I think they have two
it's
guys.
Still the Dodgers. Like I'll still take 4 hitters from the Dodgers. Like I'll take Corey Cody and freaking why am I blanking now? I'll take Corey Cody and Mookie.
But then there's another. Yeah.
And then give me. I don't throw me.
No, I mean, no, they're definitely not as good as the Dodgers. But I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see if they just somehow beat them, because they have 2 guys in their top 3 that could win MVP.
Again, it's April. It's not March. It's April. So for me to be talking about things that might happen in October is a little ridiculous. It's just my observation that they're not really the best at anything. And there are other teams that are more solid everywhere else as well. So
I actually do think this can matter, though, them starting off 0-3, just because everyone's projecting the Mets and the Braves to be a couple of games in which, like, off each other. This could be big. Like, honestly,
really 90 and
I agree with that.
They're starting 3 games.
Yeah, every game matters in the division.
Every game matters.
Yeah, every game matters
behind. That's kind of notable. One last thing I wanted to touch on: Phillies are 3-0. Really strange. Obviously, we talked about that. Baltimore's 3-0. They swept the Red Sox. I'm just saying that the teams that are still undefeated who have played. The Mets and Nationals have not played yet because of COVID. And Houston's 4-0 and Oakland 0-4. So I think those look the worst. Like optically, just seeing teams 4-0 and 0-4, et cetera. It's like, wow, it's kind of notable.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of underdogs winning this first weekend.
Yeah, we were looking at that. A lot of teams are 1-2, 2-1. Obviously, that's how it shakes out. But those 3 teams are still undefeated. Hopefully, the Mets are undefeated after today when they can beat the Nationals. But yeah, no, that's just from. I think Baltimore could be fun too. I'm just looking at the standings. Like they have some good hitters.
It's really tough to me that teams are already 3-0 and the Mets haven't played a game yet. But it's also fun that the Braves are 0-3 and the Mets haven't played a game yet. Like even if the Mets lose tonight, like somehow find a way to lose tonight, we still need to lose 2 more to get to the losses that the Braves have. So to me, that's like the double-edged sword here.
Can matter.
Yeah, I don't want to insult them too much.
We're 5 hours away. What am I gonna do with myself for the next 5 hours?
Must be Monday.
Must be Monday, baby.
Just put on SNY and watch whatever happens. Like I think John Olerud just got a base hit and whatever's going on right here. So,
all right, we're all very excited. That's gonna do it for us in our hot take edition of week 1 in baseball. Next week we'll come back. We'll figure out something new to talk about for week 2. We'll review it, see what's going on. Yeah, hopefully everyone comes back and enjoys this episode. So thank you for watching.